What is going on, MBL Network? It's the Commissioner's Corner podcast, episode number 12. It's February 9th, 2017. We actually have a really big show for you in store for you today. It's one of our biggest shows, actually. We're going to be doing team draft grades for each division. We're going to be talking about some building the franchise, some new episodes being released from the Jaguars and the Patriots. Also, some key free agent signings. And we also have a special guest that we will get to in our third or fourth segment, one or the other. But first, coming up, we got the 2-minute drill. So hang tight with us as we're about to play our intro, and stay tuned for that and much more. All right, and we are back. As I said earlier, this is episode number 12. I'm your host, Bomber, and as always, my co-host, Lipp. Lipp, another live show for us. How you feeling today? A little under the weather for Lipp right now.
A little sick, but we made it here. We're ready to go. I'm excited for this podcast. Let's do it.
So, as always, we're going to start off with a 2-minute drill with Lipp. That's right. He has 2 minutes to answer 5 questions, and they're going to be coming rapid fire. So, we're going to begin right meow. We just had MBL Season 22 rookie draft. Who will have the better career, Jaguars quarterback Taylor Tessero or Cowboys quarterback Kevin Womack?
Hey, I like Tessero a lot. Last year, whenever the Jaguars had Drew Brees, I liked their roster. I didn't like their quarterback. Now I love their entire roster and their quarterback. Tessero is going to have the best season.
New ownership in San Diego. Shout out to Chunky. Can they stay winning, or does someone else take the AFC West this year? We're talking Raiders, possibly to take the AFC West, or the Broncos, Team Porter.
Hey, we looked at the Raiders, the Chiefs, the Broncos, all to take this, but I think after the Chargers played the Lions tough in Week 1, I believe the score was 16-9. I think there's a lot of hope there in San Diego. I would even say that San Diego could win this division right here, right now.
The New Orleans Saints crushed their Week 1 opponent, the San Francisco 49ers, and the halfback MVP from Season 21, Le'Veon Austin, was a big reason why. Can he repeat as MVP, or is someone going to take that title away from him?
Hey, it's very hard to repeat MVP. I think he has a chance to do it, but I also would look at guys like Matt Stafford, maybe Tavon Whitlock, the rookie out of Denver. Those guys are going to have great years, so all three of those guys could be MVP.
Dolphins signed quarterback Brock Osweiler. Is this the right move in Miami?
Yeah, absolutely love the move. Just already you're seeing crazy growth. Last year they were under 10 points a game. So far this year it's just been 1 week, but Brock has already scored 13 points in their first week. The defense is playing together. I think a few years with Brock, the Dolphins will be a very good franchise.
And you got 8 seconds, Lipp. Who will be the NBL Season 22 Rookie of the Year?
I'm going to go back to one of my MVP suggestions. I'm going to go Denver Broncos, Tavon Whitlock, wide receiver.
All right, and that does it for the 2-minute drill with Lipp. Good job, man. I mean, we really hit on some key buttons, talking points, and it was mainly about the draft, man. We're gonna be talking a lot of rookie draft today. It just happened. One of our best shows. If you haven't watched it yet, check it out, man. The rookie draft was one of our best productions, I'd say, Lipp, since we've started doing the MBL Network. So definitely something that you need to check out if you haven't looked at it yet. Right now, we're going to go a quick commercial break by our sponsor, web3ks.com. That's right, affordable graphics for all your creative needs. So make sure you check them out. We're going to play a little commercial right now for them. Are you looking for affordable graphic design? Well, the Madden Bomber League has you covered. Our sponsor at web3ks.com can do anything you want. They always go, Bomber, where'd you get those intros? Web3ks.com. Bomber, where'd you get them graphics? Web3ks.com. So you guys need to check it out. If you want a CFM, if you got a Twitter account, if you got a YouTube account, and you're looking for some nice, clean, affordable graphics, go to web3ks.com, and he will fulfill all your graphics needs. All right, and that's our sponsor. Once again, make sure you check them out, web3ks.com. Now, moving forward in our show, I also want to say the Building the Franchise New England Patriots, I believe their episode number, I'm not sure what number right now, but they're definitely coming out with a new episode right after the Commissioner's Corner podcast. So hang along. hang around and do some stuff. It's episode number 12, Gibbs. I believe Gibbs is telling me it's number 12. So episode number 12, New England Patriots building the franchise. It's going to go live right after the Commissioner's Corner podcast. So if you haven't got your MBL fix for the day after this show, make sure you go check it out. We're going to be releasing it live after this. And that also brings us into building the franchise Jacksonville Jaguars, which was released last night, episode number 9. One of the best episodes Gibbs has put out with building the franchise. And I say this because they had one hell of a draft, Lipp. Cornerback Javier Daly was their first-round selection. We're going to pull up his player card right now, I believe. Gibbs is going to get it up for us. And I just want you to take a look, guys, at this guy's ability right here. So he comes into the league with some 80s coverage in man and zone. But look at the athleticism by Javier Daly. Really just a quality cornerback and a great first-round pick, 5'10", 192 pounds. Florida State University, which also there's another guy from Florida State that they drafted in the second round that we're just about to talk about. Yeah, check them out, 92 Speed 93 Excel. We're going to actually move over now to their other pick in the second round, which was Taylor Tessero, which is their quarterback, Lipp. You think this guy's going to have a huge impact on Jacksonville? You stated a little bit earlier, but give us a little bit more thoughts on that guy.
Yeah, I think that he's going to have a huge impact. Look, these guys, Jaguars have done a very good job of having their offensive line. They've had them for a couple years now. They've built them up slowly. They have guys around him. They bring in Vaughn Reed to be a running back. He's a stud. And as you know, a wide receiver, they still have Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns. They brought in Kenny Stills and Lucky Whitehead too. So he's got tons of weapons around him. He's got a great offensive line to protect him. He wasn't supposed to be one of the highest drafted guys, but he was taken a little earlier than thought, and he's going to have time to develop, and he makes this roster. He completes this roster. They're going to win this division and have a very good shot at making a run in the AFC playoffs.
Yeah, I think they will. And I think this MBL Season 22, building the franchise Jacksonville Jaguars, is going to be the best season for Jacksonville, and it's going to make for some really interesting content. I want to touch on Taylor Tessero a little bit more, 6'1", but he's 24 years old, man. And a lot of people see that, and they're kind of like, they kind of shy away from that because of his age as a rookie. But I see a lot of maturation in this guy, especially at Florida State down the stretch. As we mentioned earlier, Javier Daly is also from Florida State. So take a look at a couple of this guy's attributes, some throw on the run. Obviously, some short and medium are really good coming in. Needs to work a little bit on that deep accuracy, but this guy's got all the tools and the potential with the receivers of Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns. It's just really going to allow for him to grow and develop fairly quickly. And I think by the time he hits 26, 27, he'll be a top 10 quarterback in the NBL, hands down. Now, also, you guys wondering, what's this building the franchise Jacksonville Jaguars? If you haven't checked it out, this is episode 9 that he's currently on right now. It was released last night. It's a great show. Check out all the episodes before if you haven't yet. And we got a little snippet of this defense with some players they picked up. Gibbs is going to run a video clip for his Jacksonville, building the franchise Jacksonville Jaguars right now. And you're going to get a little idea of how great this defense can potentially be in the NBL. Here is what you get in NBL Season 22 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're going to get a stout defense led by Fowler, Atkins, Jackson, and Haggins. Then at the linebacker core, you have Miles Jack and Tevin Smith. Then they go to that deep secondary, no one wants to face. You got Jalen Ramsey and Demarius Randall. Don't forget about the rookie, Javier Daly. Yeah, what a signing Geno Atkins is going to be for the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. I think that's really going to change that defense. Also, Demarius Randall on the outside, and then you got in the slot, you got your rookie Javier Daly. It's going to look really nice for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now we're going to move on to team draft grades. We're going to start with the NFC East. Let's pull up that graphic real quick. Gibbs, NFC East. Lipp, we got some interesting things here. The highest 2 rated teams were the Redskins and the Cowboys. Am I surprised? Well, yeah, Cowboys and Redskins drafted pretty much towards the end. You expected a little bit better draft from Philly as far as a draft grade. Didn't happen. Redskins got strong safety, BJ Sams. Eagles went with offensive lineman Fisher Meyer, who they really have a lot of upside with him. They think he's going to be good. And the Giants are really loving their halfback rookie, who's going to be getting 15 to 20 snaps per game for New York, with Hartless at the helm running that team over there. But the Dallas Cowboys really stole the show as they went after Kevin Womack at quarterback, Lipp.
Yeah, and there was a lot of talk about that because the Cowboys had moved up to that slot. They still have Dak, so people were kind of wondering what's going on there with Kevin Womack and Dak. But that'll play out on its own. The guy I really want to talk about is Fisher Meyer. He is a stud left guard, and that's something.
You think they're underrated? You think that 3 stars was undervaluing what Philly did in this draft?
A little bit, just because I think that a lot of their issue was that they didn't have enough time for Carson Wentz to drop back and throw the ball. They had a couple holes on their offensive line. But now looking at this, maybe if they can kick one of their current right guards out to right tackle, they will have a
Yeah.
completely solid offensive line. But like I said, that filling that gap at left guard, Fisher Meyer, a guy that can pull and block, very good run blocking guy, very good guy as far as blocking, and he will make this offensive line a lot better. And that's what they really want, because they want Carson Wentz to be able to do better than he has in the past. And I think this will help big time.
So definitely a regrade. What we're going to do on each draft card, we're going to come up with a little bit of a regrade where we think the grade was a little bit low. Mine is actually going to the Giants. I think they had a need at halfback, and I think they're more of a 3.5 stars, 3 stars on this guy. They got 1.5 stars. So I actually thought they had a really good draft. Maybe 2.5, 3 stars. Let me go with that. And the Eagles, Lipp saying better than a 3-star. Where would you have them at on a regrade if you were grading these draft cards?
Yeah, I think that probably a 4-star, just because Fisher Meyer was a very good tackle out of the pool of linemen this draft, and I really like what they needed and what they got in Fisher Meyer, and that really helps out their draft grade.
All right, guys, we actually have a clip on Kevin Womack. This was actually used in the MBL rookie draft, the season 22 rookie draft that was live on the MBL network. We're going to take a look at him and just see how dominant this guy could potentially become in that Dallas Cowboy uniform this season.
Let's take a look at Kevin Womack. First of all, his decision-making is on par. He looks around, he goes through his progressions, and instead of making a dangerous throw, he takes it to the outside and into the end zone. That is what you need at the higher level. Now, let's also take a look at the touch and the accuracy he has with this ball. First, the accuracy. He's got to make the outside shoulder throw to his receiver in the end zone, puts it only where his receiver can get it. Also, as you look here on the slant pattern, there's only one place he can throw this ball, and he puts the ball where only his receiver can get it, on the inside so his receiver can catch it and get down for a big gain. That's huge at the upper levels. Now, not only does he have the accuracy, he does have the touch. Here's a touch throw right here inside the red zone. He's got to make a tough throw to the tight end, but with enough touch, he's able to get it there and get the touchdown for his team. Another example of this touch throw. This is showing off the touch and the accuracy. Not an easy throw here. Take a look at this replay. It's between 2 defenders, and he puts it there with enough on it to get it to his receiver. A great throw there, but let's not forget, he's got a big arm. He stands in the pocket, and look at him deliver this ball down the field. He is going to be a great prospect for whoever picks him up here in the MBL draft.
Man, Womack looks so poised in the pocket, man. I swear I could watch that video 2 or 3 times in a row and not get bored with it. Just seeing him be able to complete deep passes over the middle. I hope he has the same success. And shout out to the chat right now. Hashtag Team Porter says, I hope Womack is a bust in Dallas. A little harsh. JY movie guy in the chat right now. Cortez Logan moderator. What's up, Cortez Logan? Deca Dog's also in the chat. Also shout out Mr. Chunky. We're gonna move on now to the AFC East though, and this is the one that I honestly particularly look at this one and I think, man, this division had a great draft, but there is one regrade that I have, which I'll get to at the end. Jets' top player was defensive tackle Howard Landault. The Dolphins also had a 4-star rating. Left tackle Rashad Spurlock. The Bills and the Patriots both with 3-star ratings. The Bills went left end Brody Holcomb, and the Patriots went strong safety Andrew Pickens, which was kind of a head scratcher because they got rid of Gronk. They obviously had depth at tight end, but they stayed with McCourty at safety. So, most people didn't see the Patriots going safety. Any of these picks really stand out to you, Lipp, or surprise you in any way?
Yeah, I wanted to run off with that one, the Andre Pickens one. They were given a 3-star grade for their draft, but I think that Pickens is a little overrated. Everybody's going to think I'm just picking on isolated, for our pass with Adrian Peterson, but I think that the back half of the draft was a little, not as good as some people think. And then their first-round pick, or their best guy here, Andrew Pickens, he's got a lot of base stuff. Like, he's fast, he's strong, he's kind of big, but I'm not sure if he's a true baller. And the guys that you can get at safety later in the draft, I think could have been better.
Yeah, there was a lot of talent. There was a lot of talent later.
Depth.
Yeah.
There's so much depth at safety, and if this is your guy that is your top guy out of your draft, that's going to leave me a little, question. But maybe he said something in an interview, maybe he did something in a workout that I don't know about, but I just think that there's so much potential at safety, and this is not it.
And shout out to the Bills, Jay Baston, slowly developing one of the youngest defensive line in the NBL. They drafted a defensive end about 2 seasons ago that's turned into a top 10, top 5 defensive end in the NBL right now. I believe he's actually a defensive tackle. So Patriots obviously a regrade. You don't think they're worth the 3 stars? Where do you got them at?
I would probably say right around 1.5, 2. Probably 2, just because their best pick does have some physical freakness to him. But yeah, definitely a 3 is very, very generous to me.
All right. So I'm gonna have to address the chat right now. So I'm looking at the Patriots, and I'm looking, at your prior comments, guys. I gotta ask the chat. Lipp is completely attacking unisolated here, guys. I mean, with the Adrian Peterson, you did not let him breathe. You said that was a ridiculous pick. They didn't even bring him in. You ended up being right, but this hasn't played out yet, and you're jumping the gun a little early, and I'm just starting to notice just a little bit of bias. What about these Patriots are really bothering you? Let's sit down and grab a pen and paper, and you just tell me all about it.
Here's all the pen and paper you need. I said Adrian Peterson wasn't going to be good. Whole season, 375 yards. It wasn't good, okay? That's it. That's all you got to know.
And what about the quarterback controversy over there? Last year they went back to Jimmy Garoppolo. Now they're still going back with their lefty quarterback, the young stud, who will remain unnamed right now because he hasn't done anything to be named on the show. But they have a quarterback over there, and he's a lefty, so we all know who we're talking about here. Is this guy really a potential future starter for the New England Patriots?
Probably. I would say that the quarterback position, there's just a lot of different issues. First off, you let Gronk go, so there's a big question there. The guy that's filling in behind him is good, but you can't replace Gronk. So it's a little tough to call right now. I'd have to see a couple games moving forward. See, that one I will be patient on. I will not jump the gun right now.
I'm jumping the gun, man. I saw enough of this kid last year, and we saw him on the Building a Franchise Bowl where he got lucky. And and they bring in Tony Romo this year, and he plays week 1, but they still got him sitting on the bench. And I'm gonna go ahead and just name the lefty. I mean, let's just put it out there. Obviously, Nick Doran is the guy we're talking about, 25 years old, and Tony Romo comes in at 39 and just beats him out for his spot. And some people in the chat called him Nick No Ring. Yeah, I don't think he'll ever have a ring. And at 25 years old, Lipp, he's been in the league, a couple seasons now. He's got his feet wet, and I just don't see this guy as being an elite quarterback, maybe just a filler. But then I'm looking at this draft, and I'm thinking, why didn't the Patriots go with where the Jags went? And go after, Taylor Tercero, Florida State University. This guy's got a lot of upside, a lot of potential, and doubled down with that. But instead, they went after the veteran quarterback Tony Romo, which is what the Bills did last year. I think what the Bills are actually doing this year again. They just had a quarterback go down. RG3's now their starter. We'll talk about that later. But they went after Romo, which the Jaguars, they're kind of like they're a step behind the Jaguars right now. I just don't see Romo as being the void they need. He didn't have that great of a season in Chicago. He played, he was a formidable quarterback, but nothing spectacular.
Yeah, and I think that one issue here that I would like to point out is I really need to. I think that last year he struggled a lot because he didn't have a run game. We already talked about Adrian Peterson, and right now you look at their roster, they have 3 halfbacks that are all 25 and younger. So there's somebody that could break out, but I don't see a guy right now that I would say I got a game plan for that guy. Oh, I got to prepare for this
You don't
guy.
like DeMarcus McKnight?
I don't see it. I don't see it.
I like DeMarcus McKnight. He went to Clemson, been in the league a year. He's 22 years old, young guy. He has all the intangibles, 6 foot, 213 pound, can get it done. Got the end-to-end speed, not much agility, but that's their best halfback right now.
Will be much better than Adrian Peterson, but
at this point, yeah.
Not
first game.
That takes a lot. I think
9 attempts, 18 yards his first game. That's pretty much Adrian Peterson-esque last year. So I mean, and now Adrian Peterson's on the Cardinals, so everything is these guys are still getting work, and they're still getting to maintain starting positions based upon their name.
They're pretty young. Overall, they're fairly young.
The Patriots.
Yeah, maybe Julian Edelman's older as their number 1 wide receiver. Just looking at this right now, but they have Braxton Miller, Anthony Thomas, Malcolm Mitchell. Those guys are young. I don't know how their offensive line is age-wise. They brought in Cyrus Quandro. They still have Nate Soldier at left tackle. But, overall,
we're going way
quarterback,
off track
halfback,
here.
they're
We're
young.
going way off track. We're getting too deep. But this isn't the Patriots show. How many games they win this year, Lip? Just tell us that, and we're moving on from the Patriots.
5.
What do we see? How at 5?
5.
5-11. That's the over and under. All right, I'm asked the chat. Do they hit those 5 wins? They go over or under? Let us know, and we'll revisit this at the end of MBL season 22. But my regrade for the AFC East draft board is going to be defensive tackle Howard Landau. Great pick. I give the Jets a 4.5 star rating on that. I think they deserve another half star because I think that guy's going to change the defense for the New York Jets as they start off 1-0 with a big win over Oakland this year. Now moving on in our draft.
Before we move on. We've had all these issues about the Miami Dolphins and their inability to protect the quarterback. They go out and get a star left tackle.
I congratulate them on that.
And
they haven't reached on a quarterback. They didn't reach on a quarterback, but they're bringing in Osweiler, another filler, and they're going to continue to develop the defense and now the offensive line. And they're just waiting for the right quarterback that they like, and you got to applaud that because they know they're not ready yet. So why put a quarterback in the line of fire that isn't going to be protected? But we got to move on. I got my producer in my ear. We're stretched for time. So we're going NFC North. We got the Lions, who didn't have a first and second round pick. They went ahead and selected a free safety in the third round, Rodney Chamberlain. They got 2.5 stars. 3 stars for Green Bay, running back Tremaine Stanko. And then the big wide receiver, 6'6". The boy's a stud. Minnesota Vikings, Trey Hackett, wide receiver. They got 3.5 stars. A little bit of a low grade for Minnesota, who spent a lot to move up. And a little bit of a typo right now with the Chicago Bears. Got 3 stars for quarterback Max Bragg. Now, Lip, any of these picks stand out to you? You feel any regrades coming on with this NFC North?
I think that the Vikings should have been a full-out 4-star, maybe even a 4.5 with Trey Hackett. He's
a game changer.
He's unbelievable. But also, I'd like to point out Max Bragg has potential. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback. I think he fits the system probably the best out of the quarterbacks that were drafted.
But they're going to protect him. He's not the best quarterback in the draft, but he's going to be in a system where they're going to keep it simple. They're going to keep it really simple for Max Bragg. He's going to be able to develop, and they're going to get the most out of him. And if he has any potential to be a top quarterback, a serviceable quarterback, Chicago's the place for him. He obviously wasn't one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the draft, but he definitely was somebody that Chicago can start day one, and that's what most likely I believe they should do. I don't know if that's what they're going to do. I'll actually check their stats right now. I don't know if they even went off and started Max Bragg, a quarterback. They might just be developing him, sitting him down. They went ahead and did. He was 14 of 21, 55 yards and a touchdown in a win versus Green Bay, in which they pretty much dominated that game on the defensive side of the ball. QBR of 85.1, sack twice, 1 interception. Pretty good game at 66% completion for the rookie making his debut in the MBL. This guy's 6'5". Not the strongest arm, but he's got that. He's got that prototype look, and that's what Chicago really liked about him. Any comments on Max Bragg in Chicago? Anything additional that I'm missing here?
No, just like I said, I think he probably fits the system the best. I look for him to have a very good MBL career for sure.
All right, so I'm not cutting you off, but I am cutting you off. We got a video. You're like, who's wide receiver Trey Hackett that we keep talking about? This 6'6" blazing speed stud. Well, here's the video. Gibbs going to play it right now, and I'm going to play this video, and then I'm not going to talk about him no more because I'm going to let his play do the talking because this guy's sensational. So
all right, guys, let's take a look at another great wide receiver in the Season 22 draft. Trey Hackett out at A&M, and first of all, look at how good he is off the line. Able to fight through press coverage, create separation on the underneath route. He is a great route runner. Watch this here. Stopping on a dime, and that defender is gone. Look at the separation he creates. Makes it the easiest throw his quarterback could ever throw for a first down. Now, on top of that, he has very soft hands. I don't mean that he uses a lot of moisturizer. I mean that he is able to come down with the tough catches. Look at this one, fighting through contact down the middle of the field on the deep route. Able to pull that one in. Here's another example. I don't know how he came up with this one. Looks like he defied some physics here, getting back to that football and picking it up without it touching the ground. But he is strong. Look at him fight through contact here. Jump ball in the end zone. Watch him go up. 3 red jerseys around him, and he still is able to pull down that ball in the end zone. Now, he also has some great body control, which is tough for a wide receiver to have, especially at 6'6". But look at him come down with these catches on the sideline. Ready? Look at how much space he has here. His foot is near the white. It's not on the white, though. It gets it down inbounds for the first down. But let's not forget, even at 6'6", he's got some deceptive speed. Look at him create separation from the cornerback and break away from him. You're not catching this guy. Trey Hackett, Season 22 MBL Draft.
All right, guys, that was Trey Hackett, man. And man, what I'm most impressed about that guy is his ability to come back to the ball, and he finds the ball in the air, man. And you saw some of those goal line catches in traffic, working his way back to the ball, and that's where he really becomes. It separates himself from being a great wide receiver to potentially being an elite wide receiver in the MBL come season 22. So moving on to the AFC North draft grades, we got the Bengals, who had just a flurry of picks. Got 4.5 stars. Cornerback Iwabima was their top pick. The Ravens got a 4-star. Wide receiver Dillard Lloyd. The Steelers wide receiver Caleb Hayden, who they selected late in the first round, potential to be a star. The Browns went with a tight end, Vladimir Flulin. They had a really good draft. They also got some offensive linemen, I believe, in the later first round as well, and they got 4.5 stars. So this was another division that really killed it in the draft. As we said, the Bengals had so many picks and moved up, and they end up with 4.5 stars. Is that a disappointment? Should they be at 5 stars?
Yeah, I think they should be. I mean, I hear Iwo Beam is a very good corner, and they got some other guys. I think they got a good running back. They got some other guys in there that probably should make it a 5-star draft.
Yeah, the AFC North, as in chat right now, Spencer Murray saying the AFC North got so much better. Don't forget to check out Spencer Murray on the MBL Blitz podcast, which is also now live. It comes on every other week. We come on one week, then Blitz comes on the next week, usually between Thursday or Saturday. Each week you're going to get one of our podcasts, so don't forget to watch their show and support their content as well on the MBL Network. Another great show. A lot of people should be 5 stars after that practice squad pickup is what Degadog said. But this is just a draft grade, so we can't take Saints put their number 1 first round selection, offensive lineman, on the practice squad. I believe it was about a day ago, probably like about 16 hours ago. The Bengals called that guy's agent, signed him as quick as they possibly could, and now I believe the guy's name's Dallas Zumwalt or whatever. He's the offensive lineman, and he just didn't impress the Saints enough for him to make the final cut, which is what you rarely see out of a first-round pick. And now he's a Cincinnati Bengal. How much is that going to change that team's offensive line?
Well,
at least in the future.
I've heard that the plan is that their current left guard will be walking next free agency, so that leaves a giant hole for Zumwalt to come in, develop this year, and fill that hole next year. But while we're on offensive linemen, I want to talk about the Browns, and I really respect what the Browns did. They went out and got 2 rookie linemen. They went out and got Jake Lacy, and then they also went and got Frank Plummer. Very good 2 linemen there. Frank Plummer,
both from Ohio State. Hometown.
A lot of people wanted him,
and
these guys didn't have to travel far, but they found a good team. And the way that he's drafted, they also got a star tight end, Flulin, and just killed the draft. I'm very impressed with what they did, and the discipline to go offensive line helped their young quarterback, Kendall Bryan. Very excited for the Browns moving forward.
And a side note, as I mentioned while Lipp was speaking, I don't know if you heard me, both of those O-linemen are from Ohio State. So they got them home roots with the Cleveland, and they've been playing together for, in college. So they have that chemistry with them as well, and I think that's going to help them adjust and make them serviceable as a package on the O-line. So Cleveland Browns definitely, that would be my regrade for actually a 5-star. My only 5-star regrade in this entire draft would be the Cleveland Browns, because I think they went out and got some key pieces that they need, and they're looking to compete 2 to 3 seasons down the road from where we're at right now in that division.
All right, so I agree.
Go ahead.
The last thing I wanted to say was, while the Bengals and the Browns both had, I believe, 4 picks in the first round, I think that the Browns reached beyond what you would expect for 4 picks, while the Bengals maybe
came up a little short.
But it's still probably a 5-star, thing, because there is a lot of talent there. But one of their picks, I just didn't agree with at that time. I think it was a halfback. He's good, but like I said, for 4 picks, I think that they should have got more like the Browns did. But still, like I said, both very good drafts.
Yeah, and let's not sleep on the Ravens over here. Actually had a great draft. Drafted 6'4" wide receiver from Army, Dillard Lloyd, came in out as a 78 overall. That was actually their 3rd round selection. He had 7 receptions, 93 yards in a win versus New England. Also, he punched in a touchdown for Baltimore. So That guy has a lot of potential on the back end as well. He's got star potential in Madden. So he's only 22 years old, 6'4", 238, 238. That's a big wide receiver, man. That's going to be somebody that's going to give a lot of these smaller corners, a lot of work over there. And I don't know if they're going to be able to handle that. Boy, he's really big. So a lot of good wide receivers, a lot of good, tall, strong wide receivers in Baltimore. Definitely going to help their vertical attack that they're trying to establish in Baltimore with CMF as the owner. So we're going to move on now. We're going to the NFC South. The Carolina Panthers coming off a big win this week, 35-28 versus the Tennessee Titans in what some are considering to be an upset. I'm not. I got a lot of high hopes for this Carolina Panthers team, and they drafted a rookie halfback who they are starting right now, who had a huge game. I believe he had something like 4 touchdowns, 3 on the ground, caught 1. That's correct. It's Roman Rainey. He had 15 attempts, 80 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also had a couple catches and a touchdown as well. So 4 touchdowns for a debut. They got a 4-star rating, a 3-star rating to the New Orleans Saints for right tackle Landon Averill. The Atlanta Falcons had a 4.5-star cornerback, McCann, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a 4-star strong safety, Lateral Cochran. Now, it seems like he's kind of giving these stars out towards the end. The draft diamonds are draft expert. It just seems like they're slowly starting to go up. I think he's slightly overrating a couple here. I'll have a regrade possibly for the Saints. I have them about a 2.5-star regrade. I like the right tackle, but I don't see it as a key piece that they needed. I thought they lost some players this offseason, and I think they need a little bit more help on the defensive side of the ball. So any of these guys really stick out to you, Lipp, outside of that halfback Roman Rainey, who looks like he's going to be a really big stud for the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah, and I think maybe it might be easy to talk about the Falcons and how they killed the draft, but it's hard to miss when you have pick 1, 4, and 11. But the Buccaneers, I like this. JY has always been very patient, has always traded back, hasn't been tempted to go out and risk a pick on a big star, will always trade back and take the guys that he knows, and those are defensive guys. And you mentioned him, Lateral Cochran. He fell back a little bit in the draft. The Bucs said, hey, come on down to us. We'll take care of you, and he will be a star for that defense, I'm sure of it.
I think he was the player of the year in college. I think he was a Heisman winner.
I do believe so. I do believe.
I might be wrong,
I know that the Heisman did go to a safety, and I think it was him because people were so shocked that he kept falling down the draft board there. And whenever he was there at pick 32, the Buccaneers had no problem taking him. They loved the pick.
Yeah, definitely. Tampa and Cleveland really battling for one of my favorites in the draft. Obviously, I think Cleveland had the edge because they had more picks. But Tampa did great by trading back, and I think they got some really great depth and potential in their draft as well. And the Falcons had a lot of picks. So, man, obviously they had a great draft. The same with the Bengals. But, man, Cleveland Browns are so far my winner in this draft. And moving along, we're going to the AFC South draft grades. You got building the franchise, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee Titans, Indianapolis Colts, and the Houston Texans. Tennessee had one of the worst drafts, but they didn't have a first or second round pick. And their best pick was tight end Brady Graziani, and then the Colts got a 4-star with left outside linebacker Jackson Rankart, and the Texans 3 stars with D tackle Dawson Peters, and the Jacksonville Jaguars 3.5 stars with cornerback Javier Daly. I think Javier Daly, that would be my regrade on this draft. I think that was definitely worth a 4-star. I think that guy's going to be a top 5 corner in the MBL. In about 2 to 3 years, you'll definitely see that. And then the combination of who he's playing with right now, that's really what's going to make this team and that secondary so great is they already had pieces at cornerback, and now they're bringing another star one, and that's going to combat that Houston Texans passing attack and really going to make them one-dimensional.
Well, for mine, we look at the Houston Texans right there. You've got a 3-star grade for them, but I would up that to probably a 4, maybe even a 4.5. I know that maybe I'll get some crap for this, but I really like what they did here. A lot of guys will go out and they'll get the flashy guys, guys that are fast, maybe a wide receiver, stuff like that. But they were very smart with what they did. The Texans made it to the AFC Championship. The defense let up 28 points. But what they did was they brought in Dawson Peters at defensive tackle, and also another guy who's very underrated, I think. I think that he's got a low rating. I don't think people are looking at him as much. But Willis Weatherby, I think he's going to be a great middle linebacker there for the Texans. Also, you've obviously got Clowney and J.J. Watt on that defense. So I think that they're going to fit very well. I think they drafted very well for what they needed on their defense, and deserves a better rating for me.
Yeah, I really like Dawson Peters as well. I think the guy has a ton of potential. 6'1", 299 pounds. Came out, he has a strength, he has the ability. Definitely needs to improve on some technique. But the great thing about Dawson Peters at defensive tackle, he's only 21 years old. A lot of development left in that guy. Definitely could have got a higher rating, but straight out of the draft, what he is right now, I think the 3-star rating is pretty favorable for the Houston Texans. We're gonna move on now. We're gonna head down the road to the NFC West. Los Angeles Rams had one of the worst drafts in the NBL. 2-star rating center Chris Flanagan. The Arizona Cardinals with a 3-star rating wide receiver Javari Downs. The Seattle Seahawks 3-star rating running back Andre Spiller. And the San Francisco 49ers led that division with a 4-star draft center Ty Lake. And I think this is right on par. I think they got this division completely right. I think San Francisco had a great draft. And I really like Ty Lake, man, at center. I think he's going to do some big things with San Francisco, even though they got blown out against just a much more talented New Orleans Saints team this week. I think San Francisco has a lot of upside, and I think they're developing their team really well.
Yeah, and I think that I looked at Ty Lake, and I thought that he was going to be a very, very good lineman. And he went just before we were able to snatch him up. But I just think that what they have done in the draft the last couple of years, what was the guy's name? Jamal, middle
Woodward.
linebacker. For the 49ers.
Blades. Jamal Blades.
Jamal Blades. Man,
Yeah.
just that on the defensive side, and then you have to have leaders on your offense, quarterback obviously, but you have to have a guy on your offensive line that is a leader. And I think that Ty Lake can be that leader in a couple years. So, just a great pick by the 49ers. They've drafted very well over the last 2 years, and I think that they whatever they're doing in their draft room is just brilliant so far.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the draft picks that San Francisco has. But this is why I think they're going to dominate this division in the next 1 to 2, maybe 3 years. I could see them running the table for 3 years. Jamison Finley, Jawar Woodard, and like you said, they had Jamal Blades, who they drafted last year, middle linebacker. I think they're just bringing in all the right pieces at the right time. That they're slowly building this team that's going to be really tough to deal with in the near future. So now moving along. We're going to move on to the next one. It's going to be the AFC West. You got Team Porter, Denver Broncos, wide receiver Tavon Whitlock, and this is a guy you are huge on, Lipp. He got a 4-star rating. The Oakland Raiders got a 4-star rating. Right end Carlos Fantanuckin. I feel like Key and Peele made that last name up. There's some joke in there that I'm obviously missing. San Diego Chargers got 2.5 stars. Free safety Dylan Milton. And the Kansas City Chiefs got the highest draft grade with 4.5 stars. Strong safety Deshaun Black. Now, I'm going to regrade this off the top, Lipp. Tavon Whitlock, I'm a huge fan of that wide receiver. I think this is a 4.5-star draft for them. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs were about at a 4-star draft. So I think Team Porter came away in the AFC West with the best draft of this division.
Yeah, and I think what he did was smart. He went out and got a wide receiver to pair with a big free agent in Dez Bryant. So I think that now Paxton Lynch has a lot of weapons to go to. He's got a solid offensive line. They bring in Amir Abdullah, Lorenzo Taliaferro at halfback. So there's going to be some rotation there. But I like what they've done, and I like their offense moving forward. I'm not sure, did the Chargers have a first and second round pick? I don't believe they did.
No, I don't think they had a first round pick.
Okay, now Dylan Milton is a very good safety, and to get him, I'm not sure what round. It's obviously third or fourth or later, but that is when you want to go out and get your safeties, like we talked about earlier.
And that's the depth. We talked
deep.
about that. We talked about that.
Absolutely.
Lipp. That's where you want to get those safeties. That was ideal in this draft. We said it's a safety deep draft, don't reach. And I'm seeing teams reaching, and they're still getting rewarded with these high stars when I see very comparable players who are development away from being those guys that were drafted way above them for that much cheaper.
Yeah, and I think to be able to go out and get a safety at this point, this guy's fast. He's a very fast guy. He's only 6 foot tall, but he's a very fast player, very agile. So I think that they did the right thing there and go out and get a solid guy in the later rounds at free safety. The depth's there. You need that position. That's a great pick, and I love that pick by the Chargers.
And that's going to wrap it up for our draft grades per division. I hope y'all like that. We're going to segue right into free agency. A couple free agent picks that we want to talk about. And that's the big man from Tennessee. He signed with the Chicago Bears. That's right. Jarrell Casey, 29 years old. Quick development. The Chicago Bears signed him for 3 years, $40.43 million. How much is this guy going to impact Draco defense? I'm going to tell you, and I might be biased because that guy's in my, that's a division rival, but I do not like this pick for the Draco defense. I think this pick made him older, and I think that this pick does not fit into the overall scheme of how the Draco defense works.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people wanted Casey because they knew he was big, he was strong, he could do things. But a lot of people ran into cap issues this year, money issues. So whenever they saw he was 29 years old, they kind of backed away from him, kind of pulled their bids back a little bit, and didn't really want to go after him. But the Bears, they know defense. They're very good. They've got a good guy, very young guy. Nicholas Cartwright at the other defensive end, Eddie Goldman at defensive tackle. I think that this makes this a top 3 defensive line, maybe top 5 defensive line in MBL. So I see where Draco was going with it. I don't know if the money will bite him in the back down the road a little bit, but I think that for at least this year, while Casey's 29 years old, I think it might be a star-studded D-line.
They're telling me that they're within a defensive end from making a run at the Super Bowl with this kind of payout for a guy like Jarrell Casey, because they have younger guys on their line, on their defensive line, and in their secondary as well as their linebackers. They're going to need to resign. That money's got to come from somewhere. And you got Max Bragg at a pretty decent price, but you also got some wide receivers coming up, Alshon Jeffrey, and these are all guys that are going to need to be paid, and they're all the guys that are going to be making the big money towards the end of the back of their career. So I didn't know if it was the right move right now. We'll see how it pans out. Moving on to the next free agent, Big Gronk, and I love this signing for Green Bay. That's right, the New England Patriots decided to part ways with Rob Gronkowski. He was released this offseason. He signed a 3-year, $34.89 million contract with the Green Bay Packers, and he became their coveted free agent in the MBL Season 22 offseason. So what kind of impact is Rob Gronkowski going to have on these Green Bay Packers, who I think that they got a guy that can run block, as well as make those catches and be that safety blanket for Aaron Rodgers, as well as go up and get it in the red zone. So I think this makes this team more deadly on every facet of the offense, running and passing. And I just think it was a great pickup, and I think they got him at a great value.
Yeah, two seasons ago, Eddie Lacy had a miserable 2.8 yards per carry, just over 500 yards on the ground. Last year, they still struggled with the bigger running backs. Eddie Lacy he only got the ball 40 times because he was so miserable. They bring in Denard Robinson, and he runs the ball for 450 yards, 4.7 yards a carry. And I know this isn't about the running backs, but that run blocking that Gronk brings is going to be a tremendous asset to the Green Bay Packers. Now,
Guess who they're starting now? They went back. They're back to Eddie Lacy starting. And Lacy's back to starter. So that tells us that this team is realizing, well, we can actually run block now. Now we can actually use our better halfback. And it looks like Lacy's going to get more carries this year.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see that because Gronk will run block very well, opens up the run game. Imagine what he's going to be able to do down the field passing with, Aaron Rodgers. That's going to be a crazy offense now if they can fully get it together.
And they also brought in another halfback, Tremaine Shianshu, in the second round. He was the 21st pick from Notre Dame. He's got some potential too, man. If they move on from Lacy at the end of this year, they got some options with that as well. But I think Gronk was a great sign. I think he's going to give them quality offense for the next 3 years. So I don't see any back-end issues with this contract, and that's why I think it's so good. All right, guys, right now, coming up next, we got a special guest. I want y'all to try to guess who it is in the chat. You probably won't be able to, but I'll tell you what, from all the feedback we've got, you absolutely love this guy. You're going to want to hear from him. He brings all the energy to the MBL Network, and he just got a promotion on the MBL Network as well, man. So I'm going to leave that out there, see if y'all can guess who it is. But right now, shout out to Heartless for this MBL promo 2017. If you want to know why you should join the MBL, just watch this video. It will answer all those questions for you and much more. So we're going to play that video right now. Once again, shout out to Heartless for that video. Really crisp and really clean. I believe our special guest is in the building. OSU, welcome to the show.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Thanks for having me on. Love the show.
First off, me and Lipp want to congratulate you on being promoted pretty much to the MBL Network director job. What can we expect from you being our new MBL Network director moving forward? What's the initiative? What's the agenda? What do we got popping up on the new stuff? We got Sonny working MBL Creative now. So what are y'all working on? What do we got coming up in the MBL Live, and what can we expect from you in this new position?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Certainly, we're going to continue pushing forward with what we did a lot of last year, which is continually developing MBL Live to be the best show out there as we broadcast so many games. Continuing to improve that show. As you said, Sonny's going to be working with on the creative side of it. So I'm going to be focused on MBL Live and sort of more that administrative stuff. And Sonny's going to be developing some great shows. We got some great shows in the work, in our back pocket as we develop those. So he's going to be focused on those while I'll be working on MBL Live, and we're going to continue developing this network to be the best out there.
What kind of little snippet can you give us about what we're developing, man? I keep hearing this show 3 and Out bouncing around. Is that a finalized name? Is that a real deal? Is this happening? Give us a little idea of what this show might bring to the table to the MBL Network.
It is real. It is happening. We are still just in the logistics stage on making sure that that's going on, but it's going to be bringing sort of a around the horn style live debate show to the MBL Network. We're going to try to get that one going so that we can get some new personalities onto that show, some guys maybe you haven't heard from before, and some of your favorites on the MBL Network, but we wanted to incorporate some live debate and talk about some topics here within the MBL, and we're really excited for that one.
Yeah, man, we're really excited about it as well. Lipp, man, 3 and Out. It sounds like a great show, man. We might have to go on that show and see if we can win a couple of those debates.
Yeah, I'm excited. I like the concept of that. You know, everybody loves that around the horn style. And what I'm seeing in NBL Net right now, I think what you and Sonny have done is started this kind of debate thing going on. I'm seeing a lot of more topics about debates coming up, just different viewpoints going back and forth. And I think that that's very entertaining for people. I think a lot of people like to see that. And the direction it's heading is great. And I'm excited for that style to continue to grow.
Well, we appreciate that. We got a lot of great personalities here, and we got a lot of new people coming up as we always have guys coming up from Grid and more people looking to contribute, and everyone has opinions, so those debate shows just sort of come naturally.
All right, so if you're questioning the grind that OSU is putting on for the NBL Live show, let's take a look at that upcoming schedule. Gibbs is going to get us shown up on the screen right now, and we got just a buffet of games. I call it NBL Live Golden Corral because it's pretty much all you can eat this season. You're going to get about, 16, 17 games. And I heard we just got another game scheduled that isn't even on this list right now.
Yeah, we got a whole lot of games coming up. Last year, I believe we ended up with playoffs broadcasting 14 or 15 games. And this year, we're well ahead of that pace. We actually did just add a game for week 3 that's not on the schedule. We have, so that will give us 15 games during the regular season.
That's awesome.
It is awesome, and we love doing these games every week, getting more and more teams on the NBL Network on NBL Live. So we're super pumped for our season coming up.
All right, so a couple of these games I'm looking on here, looks like week 17 has 2 games. Is that going to be a double header?
Double header indeed. We got the BTF Bowl going on first. We'll have the Jaguars and the Patriots. The 3rd annual BTF Bowl, Patriots winning the first 2, Jaguars looking for revenge. And then we'll also have the defending Super Bowl champ, the Detroit Lions against the Philadelphia Eagles on the back end of that doubleheader. We're pumped for that one.
So if you're watching the show right now and you're like, I want to be on the NBL Live schedule, how do I do it? What do I got to do? Who do I have to contact? Can I get more than one game? Can I be a part of a doubleheader? What do I got to do? Can I still get in right now? That's what people want to know.
Absolutely. As you can see on our schedule, we do still have some holes in there. As we said, we just added a week 3 game, and we are always looking to add stuff like double headers. We're trying not to do too many. It is a lot of content coming out, but if you want to get involved, always just message myself. We will try to get you in the schedule. We try to have a good mix of teams on here. I don't think we have any team on here more than twice on NBL Live, so we're trying to get a wide variety of teams and give everybody some exposure. So as always, if you're interested, be sure to hit me up because we'd love to get more people on here.
That's right. Just hit up OSU in our group me chat, and you can definitely get yourself on an NBL Live game. I just want to talk about a couple of these games on the NBL Live schedule before we move on to a couple more topics. That's right. OSU is going to be here for about another 5 minutes, and hey, you might even hang around a little bit longer than that. All right, guys. So what the game I'm looking at, Lipp? Are you checking out this schedule right now? Because there's one game on here I'm like, oh, baby, week. It's going to be towards the end of the season. This game's going to mean a lot, and this is going to bring in viewership, and I just know it. And that's Falcons versus Saints, week 15. I'm really curious to see how this division is going to pan out, Lipp.
Oh, yeah. One and only's won that division, 9 times? And then this new guy, Bananas, comes in and takes that from him.
Bananas, baby.
This game, they're going to play. I'm pretty sure they're going to play one time before this. So I think that this game will decide the division, and that is going to be amazing content. So, surrounding that game, leading up to the game, and during the game, it's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait.
Yeah, mark that on your calendars. That's going to be a Week 15 Falcons versus Saints. Most likely, man, it's going to have a lot of division implications on it. The Falcons won their division every year he's been in the NBL except last year, and guess who took it? That was right, the Saints. Bananas took it, so that's going to be good. My sleeper pick of the season for a great game is actually going to be the Tennessee Titans and the New York Jets, and you're probably like, why am I selecting that game? And I'm kind of wondering why I'm selecting that game too, but I got a lot of high hopes for the New York Jets this year, and I do for the Tennessee Titans as well. Even though the Titans fell today 35-28 to the Panthers, I still think this Titans team is going to compete for a wild card position, and I think the Jets might be right there with them, and that will make this very interesting going down the stretch. Week 16 could be really interesting. All right, OSU. So I'm about to show these guys what they get when they watch OSU and they listen to OSU on a broadcast on NBL Live. So right now we're going to take a look at this NBL Live game. It's going to be a snippet of our Season 21 Super Bowl show. You're going to get a couple cut-ins that Gibbs made, so big shout-out to Gibbs for this video. And we're going to see the excitement and the love and the passion that you're going to see from OSU when he calls a game. So let's check this out and see what you get from NBL Live on the NBL Network.
Empty backfield with Roethlisberger facing a 3rd and 19 on his own 45-yard line. Dropping back to pass once again, and it is intercepted. It's Killebrew with the interception, and he's got a lot of room on that left side down to the 30, the 20, the 10, and it's a touchdown for the Detroit Lions. A pick 6 on 3rd and 19. And Sonny, I think if I'm not mistaken, that's one of those splash plays you talk about. Hey, if they want to pay me $80 million to underthrow people, I can do that all day long. 2nd and 10 for the Lions. They're going to throw it out. It's another interception, this time by the Pittsburgh Steelers, coming up with a big turnover. He looked for his out route there on the left side, unable to come up with it, in a huge Sonny Liddick splash play for this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Screen pass for Le'Veon Bell. He does get it up for a 9-yard gain to bring up a 3rd and 1. And both of these offensive lines, though, have played relatively well. Not a lot of sacks in this game. We have seen those interceptions, but the offensive line have been creating holes for both running backs as well as keeping the quarterbacks clean. As on 3rd and 1, it's going to be 2 wide to the left, 1 to the right. Bryant alone on that right side with Bell in the backfield. As Roethlisberger looks to pass, and it is complete over the middle for a touchdown. This Pittsburgh Steelers team, no quit. They do get a quick score with 4:52 to go here in the 4th quarter as the extra point is down. The kick is up, and it is good. 38-17. Lions still up 21, but a nice play there. Do the Steelers have a chance of coming back in this one? They did score pretty quickly on that drive.
It would take a big splash play coming up here, maybe an onside kick to try to get that, because they've got a lot of scoring they got to do in a short amount of time. Now, momentum can shift, and it has seen it happen before, especially with these Detroit Lions. So,
for everybody here at the MBL Network, behind the scenes, we've had Gibbs. We got Sonny Weaver on the call today. And for everybody who's called a game or produced a game with us this season, we'd like to thank all of you for hanging out with us on this, the biggest game of the year, the Season 21 Super Bowl. Once again, your Detroit Lions are your Season 21 Super Bowl champions. For Gibbs, Weaver, I am OSU. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. And we'll see you in Season 22 of the Madden Bomber League.
All right, guys, and we are back, and just the passion that OSU has for the game. I get a lot of great feedback, OSU, from guys saying, man, that guy on the broadcast, man, he brings a lot of energy. I really enjoy listening. So from the NBL admin team to you, we just want to say thank you for being a part of this and really helping drive this content and push out this high-quality NBL Live program that we have. We're doing pregame shows now. Tell us a little bit about what some pregame shows might look like in this upcoming NBL Live schedule.
Well, I'll tell you this, in week 1, we got the Giants and the Vikings. That's going to be tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. I'll tell you what we got coming up on that pregame show. We're going to be talking about Trey Hackett, of course, the draft pick for the Vikings. Can he help the Vikings compete in that very tough NFC North division? We're going to be talking about the New York Giants, their young quarterback, Holmes. Will he improve this year? Can he help this New York Giants team win some more games, possibly compete for a wild card playoff spot or even a division? And then we're also going to ask the question, which teams that missed the playoffs last year will make them this year?
Oh, wow.
And on the other end, which teams that made the playoffs last year are going to fall off? So we have that pregame show before every game. We certainly love putting that on, and we hope to see you guys tomorrow night.
And that's that's Vikings at Giants. We are live, baby. That's Vikings at Giants tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on the MBL Network. And it is going to start with the pregame show. OSU, who's going to be on the call for that game tomorrow? We definitely got you on the call, correct?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be hanging out. I'll be doing my usual craziness. And I got this young talent from the Madden Bomber League. His name is, I think it's pronounced Bomber. He's going to be on the call with me.
I believe it's Bomber.
Bomber. I think it's actually French. It's Bombay. So he'll be on the call with me, this young Bombay kid, and we'll be doing that game tomorrow night.
All right, OSU, thanks for coming on. We know your time's limited, but we're about to start this Crossfire segment. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's where okay. So we allow the audience to interact with us as we're talking. And we got a good amount of people in the chat right now, and they want to talk to us and get our opinion on a few things. Most likely plugging their own team. Cough, Kansas City Chiefs, Trey McIntyre. Things like that are about to happen, and we'd love for you to stick around, man. They would like to know your point of view and give a little bit of your opinion. I know you do it on your pregame show, and if you wouldn't mind giving us 5 to 10 more minutes of your time.
Yeah, I guess I can hang out. Why not? All
right, so let's start the MBL Crossfire segment for the Commissioner's Corner podcast. Guys, what are the questions out there right now? Let's see what we got. Gibbs, we got anything lined up right now? Best offseason. Who had the best offseason? Who asked that question, Gibbs? It was Mr. Chunky. I'm getting it right in my ear, fellas. If you don't hear Gibbs, that's because he's talking directly to me. We're live in studio right now. Mr. Chunky wants to know who had the best offseason. Actually, since we have a guest in the house, it's always where I'm from, guests first, ladies first. It might apply twice here. So, OSU, give us your idea who had the best offseason.
I think if you're looking at both the draft and free agency, and I'm going to focus a little more on the draft. You guys did a great job with that one, and I think the draft is where a lot of teams are built. I'm looking in that AFC North. I'm looking at the Cleveland Browns. I think that team was very close last year. I know they had some tough bounces go their way, and of course they got to cut down on those turnovers, but they did exactly what they needed. Fry getting 4 picks in the first round, get some talent in there, and I think you'll see the Cleveland Browns challenging for that division title coming up.
Lipp, who do you think had the best offseason? Any disputes to what Gibbs just said? I think the Browns did a great job in the offseason. I think they what they did with their picks was just tremendous. I think they made some great plays.
No, I was actually going to pick them as well. Like I said earlier, tremendous respect and a lot of patience is going into that team. I love what Fry's doing there. Like I said, getting those offensive linemen, got a quarterback last year, built a defense the year before, just patiently building slowly. This is just one of those examples. About every couple of years, we get to see one of those truly impressive slow builds. I remember a couple of years ago,
that's
I believe
what we're
Cuba,
about. August to August, man.
Absolutely. Cuba did it with the Houston Texans. Started out, didn't win a game. Maybe won 1 game, then won 3 games, then won 5 games, and then he was pushing for the playoffs. During our season 6 or 7, there towards the end of that Madden, and that is what NBL is all about. Those long, impressive builds, and it's just you have to give the guy credit. It's just tremendous.
And that's what all August to August full immersion gaming is all about in the NBL, man. It's building through the draft, through player development. We're not about making those big-time trades. We're about making those big-time moves within your franchise to give that guy the opportunity to get on the field to really develop his skills so it pays dividends later on down the road. Now, we talked about best offseason, so I'm going to kind of go out of order, guys. I'm getting it from my producer what we're going to ask, but I'm going to kind of go with the flow here. And we did best offseasons, and now I'm on worst offseasons. And I want to plug the New Orleans Saints. I think they had a really bad offseason. I think they had a lot of money. And, when you got money in your pocket, it's burning a hole and you got to spend it. And I think that's what they went out there and did. And I think they overpaid a lot of people. And I think in about 3 to 4 years, that's really going to bite them in the butt.
No, I,
Yeah,
I think the New Orleans Saints are for sure up there on my list, especially coming off of a division title. You have a lot of players who would want to come for a division title team, a team that took the Atlanta Falcons off their throne. Not only did they overpay a lot of people, it just seemed like there were some ownership mistakes there. Unable to get a deal done with Le'Veon Austin until he hit free agency. That definitely drove the price up as a lot of people were looking at him. I think the Saints still have plenty of talent. They might have overpaid a little bit, but I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't think the Saints are winning that division this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think that if you look
Falcons
at this
taking
team, if you look at the Rams, I don't think that they did anything. They may have gotten the names, but I don't think they got the player. And what I mean by that is they picked up on offense Demaryius Thomas and on defense Prince Amukamara, both over the age of 30, both on the clear downside of their careers. So I think they got the name. If you said, Demaryius Thomas, Prince Amukamara, you'd say, wow. But if you look at them, where they're at in their career, it's not going to pay off. I don't think they had a good
I think that's
offseason.
two teams. I think what you said with the Rams and what you're saying with the Saints are actually two similar situations where I think the Saints they had all this cap room. They had so much success last year. You thought, wow, sky's the limit. If they just bring in they don't have to force it, but they forced it this year. They went out and got players and overpaid players that they did not need, that did not have that kind of market value, and yet they overpaid to get them. So they reached year one rather than allowing a slow build process and waiting for those right players. I think the Rams did the same thing, and I think they're losing their competitive edge in their division right now, and I don't think those two will win their division this year. That's just my opinion right now. I'm with OSU. I don't think the Saints win this division because I don't think they brought in the right pieces, and I don't think they're going to be developing this team like the Falcons are developing their team. All right, so moving on. Our next question comes from Tim Hamilton, a member in the grid. He asks, what player, either free agency or in the MBL Season 22 rookie draft, will change a whole division? Oh, that's a good question. Which player that was moved could change an entire division?
That's a tough one. I'm going to have to go with a guy who has been mentioned over and over today and who we'll be talking about tomorrow on MBL Live. It's Trey Hackett. If for no reason other than I think that NFC North division is always incredibly competitive, and because everybody sort of beats up on each other in that game, you end up having a lot of people taking unexpected losses, and division games are so important. Trey Hackett is such a valuable weapon for that Vikings team, and having a star wide receiver, you look at the teams that do well, they all have star wide receivers. Trey Hackett, I think, changes that division and maybe makes it a 4-team race for that one.
All right, so we actually might have the Jets owner on the phone right now. Delvar, are you with us right now?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, so we got the Jets owner on the phone. You're talking about a player that might change the division, and I'm talking from the draft. Defensive tackle Howard Landault. How big of an impact is this guy going to have on your front line defensively this season in NBL Season 22? You think he has what it takes to push that defense over the edge, and you can give Buffalo a run for their money? They've been dominating that division lately.
Well, I think it was for the draft to take a cornerback, but owner Sonny took the cornerback we were looking at before we picked, so we figure we get another great defensive tackle, and if we could put more pressure on quarterbacks, make them make bad decisions and bad throws and get interceptions that way. So hopefully we think he'll make a splash play here there for us.
So he's looking
Drink,
for
everyone drink.
Everybody
Drink,
drink. That's a splash play. And look what the Jets owner said right now. Delvar, thanks for coming on the show and giving us a little insight to your team. They're looking at getting pressure to the quarterback to create interceptions, and they're in a division that throws a lot of interceptions. I think that was a great move by the New York Jets. They were looking cornerback. They didn't get who they wanted, and a lot of teams won't admit that after they draft somebody, but they didn't get who they wanted. But they don't let that fool you. They love defensive tackle Howard Landault, and this guy's going to be a big-time player for that defense. He's going to get pressure to Buffalo. He's going to get pressure to the Patriots, and the Dolphins are always sitting ducks, so it's going to be a sack or interception when you play the Miami Johnsons, and that's what we got right now. So Delvar, thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate you coming on and give us a little insight about the New York Jets.
No problem.
And just like that, he's in and he's out. So moving on down the road, did Dallas reach on Womack at 6? Asked by Cortez Logan. Yeah, man, that's an interesting question, Lipp. You got any thoughts on that? Dallas Cowboys reaching on that quarterback when they had Dak Prescott with a very cheap contract already on their team?
It's tough. I would say, yeah. I think that Dak had a lot going for him. I think that Dak was a solid option. I don't think he was going to be too expensive whenever it did come time to re-sign him. And I think they had a solid game plan and guys around him. I don't see the difference between the two. If you were going to go out and get a guy that can, without a doubt, drive the ball down the field all the time, 2-minute drill, then yeah. But I just see too many similarities in these guys, and I just don't think that it was worth going all the way up to take a guy that is pretty similar to Dak Prescott, honestly.
Man, and Dak was already on your team. You wasted a first-round pick, and you gave up your first next year.
Yeah.
OSU, did they give up a little too much?
I'm not only going to say that they gave up too much. I think it was the most baffling pick of the entire draft. And it's because of this. Not only because they have Dak Prescott, who is what I think is one of the better young quarterbacks in the league. But if you're going to trade up and give up picks in the next season to move up into the top 10, you got to go up and fill a need. This was not a need for the Cowboys. They have Dak Prescott. He may not be the best quarterback around, but I think every team is always looking for that best quarterback
Look at his
around.
success. Look at his success.
I mean, this is a team that has made the NFC Championship. This is a team that has been close to winning Super Bowls, and yet they're trading up into the top 10 to fill a position that they didn't need. It was baffling to me.
Yeah, that's what it is. And JY has a quote for us in the chat right now. We felt we needed to get younger and draft a player that can come in and contribute right away. That's a quote from DK.
26-year-old is
Lost
old now?
all his picks to get younger at a position where he's young with a starter that took him to the NFC Championship and to the Super Bowl the previous year.
And let's be clear, by the way, get younger. Dak Prescott is 26. Womack is 24. Well, I mean, I guess 2 years is mathematically younger, but that's not like, let's not pretend we're dropping down 10 years. It's a 2-year difference, guys.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but you let Des Bryant walk. Okay, he's older. You don't replace him with it. There was guys at that sixth pick that you could have taken to fill that wide receiver need, and they would have been a star. But you replace Des with Deshaun Jackson. You still have Terrence Williams. And I don't see anybody else that I really feel like mentioning. You want to talk about getting younger? 2 years ago,
Greg
you bring
Olsen.
in Jared Cook to tight end, and now you bring in 34-year-old Greg Olsen, and you're going to tell me about getting younger? Don't buy it. Don't buy it at all.
Yeah, I'm. That actually just blows my mind that wide receiver core releasing Des Bryant almost signaled to me, that they were going wide receiver in the draft, and that's what they were moving up for, possibly a Trey Hackett, 6'6". And you look at the wide receiver that the Steelers picked up late in the round, that could have been a star wide receiver for this Cowboys team, and now they're left with pretty much, bare bone wide receiver core, and that really, to me, I just don't understand it. Unisolated is asking, does Stafford become a free agent after this year, or does he get tagged again? The contract talks, I can answer this. Obviously, the owner of the Detroit Lions. We're already in contract talks with Stafford. His market value, obviously, he's gotten a little older, and it's much cheaper, and we're definitely going to be signing to him, probably looking at a 3-year deal, about $60 million. For those interested, if you're actually interested now, if this was just some kind of a loaded question where you're trying to push off something because you're having quarterback troubles in New England, I don't want to hear it. All right, moving on to the next one. Looks like that's pretty much it right now. Is there any other questions in the chat going once, talking about some splash plays going on?
I got to drink again. Stop it.
Randy Gregory also was gone. He's going to be causing havoc in Atlanta. That's what Cortez Logan says, and that's absolutely true. Randy Gregory just had a monster debut game for the Atlanta Falcons. He's going to be great on that defensive line. As we see the Dallas Cowboys team essentially shredding before our eyes, it almost reminds me of the Oklahoma City Thunder in the NBA. We're seeing a lot of pieces just being taken away, but not a lot of pieces returning as potential fillers for those spots. So I think Dallas is actually in grave danger of losing that division again, which they dominated the first 2 seasons of this Madden, which was MBL season 19 and season 20. And then they lose in MBL season 21, the division. I think they're going to lose again this year. Y'all think Redskins going to hold on to that division?
Yeah, I think that we saw whenever we started, the Cowboys had a great game plan with a great roster, and they've kind of let it fall apart under this false sense of we got to get younger. Washington Redskins have kind of gone the opposite. They brought in guys like Cliff Averill and stuff on their defense and have gotten a lot better that way. And that's what's propelling them to, the division and some playoff runs here.
All right, final question right now. I'm not sure who this is from right now, but they want to know what playoff teams who made it last year won't make it this year. That's actually going to be on the pregame last year. I guess I'll give my comments about that now. people who made the playoffs last year that won't this year, and I'm going to say the Buffalo Bills, because I don't think they're going to win the division. I think the New York Jets are finally going to take that division, and I think Delvar will make a nice little run in the playoffs. Y'all got any playoff teams who made it last year that won't make it this year?
Yeah, I'll be the mean guy here.
Someone say the Oakland Raiders.
I think that the Los Angeles Rams had an impressive start last year. Kind of fell apart when their schedule got tough. They won that division. They're going to be playing some other division winners. I look for this to be a time where the Cardinals, the Seahawks, or the 49ers, all of those teams, very good, building young teams. Any one of those three could step up and take that division away. I definitely see that being a possible scenario moving forward.
OSU, any teams jump out not going to make the playoffs this year who made it last year?
Sure. I mean, here's what I'll say. I think the Rams are a good pick, except for the fact that the Rams do play in a relatively weak division. So I think that will carry them into the playoffs nonetheless, even though they had a poor offseason. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say there's going to be a division champion other than I do like that Buffalo Bills pick, but I don't think the New Orleans Saints are making the playoffs this year. I got two other teams in mind, which I will reveal on MBL Live tomorrow as to who's going to come in the wild card, and I don't think the Saints win that division. I think that they're just going to miss the playoffs altogether.
And we're going to end the show with that. That's right. It's been episode number 12. We made a lot of predictions, man, and we're going to hold them to you, OSU. If the Saints end up winning that division and they do it handedly, you got to come back on the show and defend your position on why you thought that about the New Orleans Saints, who played so well last season. Definitely. So thanks for coming on the show, OSU. I'm your host, Bomber, my co-host, Lipp. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We had a lot of show out from the grid, guys. Don't worry, guys. We are watching you, and this participation does count towards your ability to get in the MBL or at least get on that top 5 call-up list. Also, big shout-out to the guy pulling the strings behind the scenes. That's right. That's Gibbs. And it's been episode number 12, February 9th, 2017. It's been a good episode. Our longest episode. We wanted to go over an hour this time just to see if we could, and we definitely did it. So an hour of talking, and I'm burned out, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. And also understand, building the franchise New England Patriots will drop immediately following the end of this podcast. So make sure y'all check that out and leave a comment and let us know what you're thinking about our Building the Franchise series and how they're going. So from Bomber and the rest of the crew, I hope y'all have a good night, and I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next time.